became, I mean, honestly, looking at the whole taxi driver storyline through that modern lens, like, yeah, sure, you can change the cab to a rideshare program. Like, there's some superficial jokes you can make about that. But when I actually looked at Taxi Driver's storyline through that modern lens, Taxi Driver is the story of a loner white male who self-radicalizes to the point of trying to assassinate a politician.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that in 2020 is basically everything that's happening today.
It's an extremely, still sadly, very timely story that doesn't change. If anything, it's almost more relevant now than it was in the 70s.
Absolutely.
In the 70s, it was almost a fiction that you could see, but today is something that you see in the news almost daily, especially in America.
Exactly. And that's sort of when it clicked for me, when I realized, oh my gosh, like, since 2015, when Donald Trump came down that escalator, I was like, you know what? I have had this anxiety building in me for a long time of like, what the eving loving is going on with America.
Yeah.
And so I just did a deep dive. That summer I read 12 books on like the economy, on dark money, on, corporations getting personhood, and how they were, like the Republican sort of takeover of Congress, like everything. I like inundated myself. I sort of, in a way, became Jack, going down those rabbit holes until, and so this opening, as soon as I realized that the relevancy in today's, it's almost terrifyingly more serious and more pronounced. It became like this opening that allowed me to these floodgates that opened that allowed me to funnel all of this anxiety and fear and the trauma of the last 10 years. Into this script to be able to sort of articulate and capture this anxiety. Like my partner Chris Kempinski, who's going to be the DP on it, he said it's like a time capsule of the 2020s.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, like definitely since the 2015, 2016 political shift over in America, I remember very clearly the New Year's of going into 2016. I'm like, you guys don't seem to, no one's grasping that the world changed really, really suddenly. And like, no one seems to be like paying mind to it. And I was so adamant. I was playing a show with my band. My band had to tell me to shut up because I like couldn't let it go. They're like, you're bringing everyone down, John. I'm like, you guys don't seem to understand the shift that just happened in our world. And it started and it hasn't stopped. If anything, it just keeps piling. And that feeling of anxiety, as something that I think that everyone that's at least paying attention or has what I would consider a standardized moral compass just can't seem to shake, as this constant anxiety of what is happening around us, because it's accelerating, and it's truly a frightening time to be alive, I believe.
Truly, it almost feels like ever since the 2020s, I've been like, okay, well, at least next year will be better. And then it's like, okay, well, maybe 2022 will be next better, and then like it's like January 3rd, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, but next year will be better, like it doesn't seem to be slowing down. And you're right about that moment. It's the moment when Trump said, oh, that didn't happen, but we had video proof of it happening.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, he just broke reality. He just gave everybody carte blanche to just say, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Here's footage of January 6th. Oh, I don't believe that happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, but, and the media, owned by corporations who are trying to make money, who are using algorithms to promote, more engaging quote unquote content, which is basically just things that rile you up a little bit more, that get you a little bit more anxious or whatever to click.
Well, anything that makes you interact, and unfortunately rage or outrage or things that you don't like, you will interact with more with things that you enjoy. Something you enjoy, you're like, oh, that's sweet, maybe I'll give it a like. Something you truly venomously oppose, you're going to interact with it more. You're going to watch it, you'll share it, you'll post about it, you'll spark more outrage. You'll be like, can you believe this? And that's interaction, and interaction is your time, and your time is your attention, and that's all the algorithms are built on.
Exactly, and the media, instead of looking at that moment when Donald Trump broke reality in that way and tried to do something, they're trying to make money. They're now making news for specific audiences. Like, oh, you're far left? Here's the news for you. Oh, you're a more old school liberal? Yeah. Here's the news for you. You're MAGA? Here's the news for you. Now we're all tuned into different truths.
Yeah.
So what Trump broke, the media went, all right, cool, let's just keep going for it. And you're like, but And so now there's just, and so the idea that we can't communicate in this way became really a part of the makeup of Cabby, of like, here's all these people, this guy just trying to make some kind of connection with one person, and it's like no matter what, there's just jumping to conclusions, and they're not on the same page, and even when you think maybe slightly, all of a sudden other people come in and it all gets, and so that's sort of the beauty of this piece, is that you come in with your baggage and you will leave with a completely different perspective than the person beside you who's going to bring their own stuff and take away their own stuff. It was really an interesting process of writing this.